It's going down because you already know what has happened. We've already had previews of some HBCU bands that have already shown us what they've been working on, what they have coming out of band camp. So on today's show, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about Jackson State. We're going to talk about North Carolina Central. We're going to talk about Alabama AMU. We're probably going to even talk about a little Winston-Salem in there. And I think we saw a little bit more Mississippi Valley. All this and more coming up next on Luke's Band Report. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or whenever you're watching me right now. My name is Jay Luke, the owner and operator of the Passionates Network. I'm also the host of Talk That Talk. You can get any of our merchandise at www.realtalkthattalk.com. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about it and let's get into it. There have been some band days, some training days, some, I don't know, whatever day that you want to be able to label something. But it has been some bands that have decided that they are going to show what they got because band camp is over and it's time to reveal what they have for the 2024 season. So I want to go ahead and start all the way from the top, from the first group that I actually saw coming up, Winston-Salem State University. They did kind of like do this outside performance of revealing the band, and it seemed like it was not only just a reveal, but kind of like a little pep rally for the school, maybe? I don't know. That could possibly be it. But one of the things that I did see is they got a head drum major, and it's a young lady. So kudos to you, young lady. So what I can see from them, they're not necessarily that big. They've gotten a couple of numbers in there, but nothing to just be too excited about. But it seems to me like they have some exciting kids and kids who are willing and accepting or exciting to play in the band, and you know, I can go for it. As far as sound, I mean, let's be real. They're small, and when you're talking about small, you may get some kids who may not be that strong on their instruments, kind of sprinkled in with some kids who were, you know, from past year or whatever. So as far as sound is concerned, intonation problems, and most of these band programs, you're probably going to hear some intonation problems coming out of band camp. But for me, when listening to them, I kind of heard a lot of intonation issues, but nothing that I'm going to be overly critical about because, again, this is what you're getting when you're getting kids right out of band camp. So I give them a little grace on that. Now, I did have a little issue. When I said the flags are flagging, you guys know how I am already. If you got a pole in your hand, use the pole.
This ain't that type of party.
You can't have the swing flags in your hand, but you're doing 8 counts, but you got another group of girls doing 8 counts over there. I'm just saying, if you're gonna put the flags in your hand, use them as flags. Don't just use them as a tool that you're gonna hold while you're trying to do 8 counts. Just something to think about as you go into the season. But other than that though, like I said, everything looked good. I think that they're gonna be okay coming out of the season, and I think they'll be fine. Moving on though, I saw another smaller band program, Tuskegee. Tuskegee was under their roof, and you know, that's kind of the thing that they do. Not necessarily overly impressed by what I heard, but again, they're under the awning, and sometimes that awning can either be their gift or their curse. Now, whether Sonny and Gray, they gonna ball and parlay under that awning, and that's kind of where they do their thing. And I'm not mad at them for it. But again, not necessarily something that jumped out at me that was just saying, hey man, Tuskegee is here, and they're here to make an impact. But we never know. We're just gonna continue to see what happens to them throughout the year, and we're gonna keep an eye on them. Now, moving on to the next group that I saw, North Carolina Central, which they were doing something called the training day or something like that. I don't know. Ask Denzel Washington.
My nigga.
Outside of that though, big sound that I heard when they struck up their first notes. From what I can tell, they've even added a couple of numbers to their size, and I think the tubas were tubaing, trombones were tromboning, and I think the whole band was just doing what they needed to do. Now, to be very honest, the video that I saw wasn't necessarily a lot of clarity to it, and the lights were getting in the way from the flashing and all that kind of stuff, and it was kind of dark, and obviously the percussion was on the stage. But outside of that though, I'm impressed by what I see. But I will also say this, we all know how that gym can kind of take our sound and enhance it a little bit with all the reverberation that's going on in the room. Even though that reverb is in that room, I'm not going to take away any credit from what I heard from that program. I think they came out of band camp sounding pretty good. And so I can't wait to see what they sound like when they come from out of the gym and they're actually face to face against another program. I'm liking what I hear. Keep it up. Next up, the next group that I saw was Alabama A&M, and I'm telling you right now, they might be a problem coming up this year. Now, I'm going to tell you this, I'm going to be honest, when it comes to the balanced sound and or the intonation, and again, like I said before, most bands coming out of their band camps are going to have a couple of intonation issues and things that they're working on, but when it comes to clean sound, they're probably about the best that I've heard so far.
You lie!
Just being real. I know I'm gonna get some hate inside the comment section. With that being said though, they played this Thank God It's Friday. I really don't know if that's really what TGIF stands for, but I'm just gonna go with that because that's what I know it from.
We're gonna have some fun, show you how it's done, TGI.
But outside of that, I thought that that was a really good arrangement of a song. But here's my thing though. It was really good, but to me, it just kind of felt like it didn't go anywhere. To me, the strongest part of that whole song was that little trombone feature that y'all got in there, which whoever wrote that, and I will also say, trombones, you did a great job of actually executing it. But coming out of that though, I just kind of felt like it just went nowhere. And I'm gonna be honest, y'all looped it again and trombones did a great job on that part again, but I was expecting something bigger and it just kind of didn't. What I will definitely say is I appreciate what I'm hearing from you guys. The We Are One, I think that's what you guys played, and Lovely Day, thought that was fine. Again, intonation problems here and there, some balance issues with some chords and things like that, but nothing that I'm gonna be overly critical about because again, this is the start of what we're seeing right now from you all. And again, I expect that when you come out of band camp, you're not gonna sound like you're gonna sound like the end of the season. You're gonna sound like you sound like in the beginning of the season. So for that, I give you all grace. The other thing is the flags were flagging in the stands and I loved every single minute of it. Good job, flags. And I was like, yes, now that is what you're supposed to do in the stands when you got a flag line. Use them things like you should.
Oh, that's nasty.
You know what I mean. Very good job, ladies, dancers in the front. I think you all were doing a good job. Alabama A&M, I think that you guys are on your way. And it's gonna be very interesting, like I said it before, to see the matchup between North Carolina A&T State University and Alabama A&M. And they have proven to me, they coming out swinging. Not swinging, but swinging. So keep up the good work, and I can't wait to see what you guys do throughout the year. Here we go, the one and only Jackson State. Now, I'm pretty sure everybody was waiting for me to bring up Jackson State, the sonic boom of the South. And the first thing that I'm gonna bring up, why? Because I'm a J5 fan, you know I was already gonna do it, is J5.
I want you back!
You got a new line here with Christian Steele being the head drum major, and you have a new female drum major. Now, everybody's wondering, what are you thinking about the new female drum major? I did a show about her. I actually think she looks good. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, I will say that because she is shorter and has shorter limbs, sometimes when she's doing some of her moves, it kind of looks like she's not necessarily completing some of the moves fully. But what I will say is this, she's got it. She's got the style. She's got the look. She's got the energy. I like the new Get Ready that they came up with. Can't wait to see her development and growth. And actually, it's not just her who's new, it's somebody else who's new to the line, but you got to realize all eyes are going to be on her. I think she's like the third or fourth female drum major that's ever been J5 at Jackson State. So everybody's eyes are going to be on her. That's going to be natural. Nobody's going to be really paying attention to the other fellas. Everybody's going to be waiting to see when she messes up. If Christian got anything to do with it in that line, she ain't going to mess up. And I'm actually looking forward to it. So keep it up, young lady. But let's go ahead and talk about the band. Let's go talk about the full band. So obviously, you know, they had the merge and you know, it's the underclassmen versus the upperclassmen. We already know how this thing goes, but when they came together, it was sound, and more sound. But in the process of me watching this, I came up with a theory here. I want everybody to go with me. Just follow me here. Some of you may agree, some of you may not agree, but just listen. I think that the sonic boom of the South is one of the most interesting experiments that we've ever seen take place in HBCU marching band.
You're so wise.
What I mean by this is the fact that this is the first time that we've ever seen, and even last year, what a mass band would look like inside of an HBCU. Let's be real. Jackson State is literally just mass band at Jackson State. I mean, if you really want to go any further, it kind of feels like it's Georgia mass band. Kind of chop them down a little bit and kind of what you got. Or Mississippi, or both.
Both of y'all.
Either way, what I'm saying is that it just feels very mass bandy-ish to me. Between the way and the style that they play in, the arrangements that they have, and the level of hangovers that most of the trumpets and trump funk and most of the euphoniums do, very mass bandy. So does that mean that they're not getting any kind of music education at Jackson State? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is, it seems like their approach is very mass bandy. And that's kind of what they are. But I will also say this. That does not mean that just because I feel like that's the experiment that they're doing, and I guess they're doing very well at it, that everybody else should do that. That doesn't mean that everybody else has to follow suit. And I think that's kind of where we end up messing up at. Is because everybody thinks that because they play the game, not Jackson specifically, but a couple of people, they play the game, that you should play the game too. No, just be who you are. I think Jackson is doing a great job of being who they are.
Be yourself, be yourself, be yourself.
And because of that, Roger Little called everybody out. He just told you straight up, we the Kings. He didn't say it like that though, but that's what he said. He said, come see me, or come see us. He put everybody on notice, is kind of what he said.
Raw dog has spoken.
But other than that though, I'm just saying, Jackson has a big sound, big program, big low brass, big trumpet section. What? Let me pull back on that. I don't know. Did anybody else feel like the trumpet section wasn't as strong as they were last year? Now, I will also say this again, beginning of the year, we're not going to take anything away from them. We'll see how Trump Funk develops over the course of the year. But I will say this though, when you got like 48 baritones going against 20 trumpets, I mean, what else can you expect? But other than that, again, Jackson State, I'm looking forward to seeing what you have this year. I definitely put you guys in my top last year, and I can't wait to see what you guys got in store for this year. And who's going to be stepping up to the plate to kind of meet where y'all left off, or where y'all starting at, however you want to look at it. And a surprise video just surfaced out of nowhere. Mississippi Valley State University. Listen, come here. Look closer. I don't know what Miguel Bonds is promising y'all, but it gotta be something good. It's gotta be.
We need some smack burn.
Between Talladega and what he was starting to do at Dale State and what he's done at Mississippi Valley in the course of 2 years is nuts. Did you see the number of kids that was in that program inside of the stands in the gym? What the heck? Again, I don't know what he got going on over there. I don't know what he put in that Kool-Aid, but it must be delicious. But again, they're growing, they're big. It's interesting to see how he's able to get these kids in here. Get your education. Enjoy band, but get your education. Other than that though, really couldn't necessarily hear the sound because from the recording that we had, it wasn't necessarily anything that was in their face. It was actually to the side. You really couldn't get a good glimpse or necessarily the feel of what they were playing inside of the room. But again, for me, the surprise is just the fact of the numbers and the numbers. Whatever he's doing, somebody got to figure out the secret of the potion or something, because that's nuts. It's just nuts. With that being said, you guys tell me what you think. Did you all see any of these videos? Who do you think out of the ones that you've seen thus far are going to turn heads this year? Go ahead and leave it over there in the comment section or down there in the comment section, however you want to do it. Also, I know there were a couple more videos that came out, but I really just didn't get any good clips of them. Also, who are you waiting to see? I know I got a couple of folks that I know that I'm waiting to see, and I know some people that you're waiting to see. But you guys go ahead and leave that in the comment section as well. Go ahead and hit that like, subscribe button, and turn on notifications. Leave whatever comment that you need, whether it's, man, I like what you're doing, or just giving me a comment on whatever I'm talking about, whatever. Just go ahead and help that YouTube algorithm. Man, I have nothing else. This has been super dope, and I will see you all on next week.